Welcome back to the Cossy the channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. So Arsenal close to signing their next number 9 this summer with Arteta and Mikel Arteta agreeing that it's either between Benjamin Sesko or Victor Gyökeres. However, since the end of the campaign, we have had a lot of reports coming in from different directions. One from David Ornstein, another from Gyökeres, and then Florian Plettenberg and Nicolo Schira, all pointing in very different directions regarding the future of Arsenal's number 9. Nicolo Schira says that Arsenal are in talks with Sporting and a bid should be coming in very soon. But Florian Plettenberg says Sesko is the one and Arsenal are in talks with RB Leipzig. So there is a lot of information. Gyökeres is the one that has given me a story that I really think is very important. And he says the Victor Gyökeres deal could be more expensive than people actually expect it to be. So we're going to be diving into all the information we have. What is the expectation at the end of the day? Now, the good news is that Arteta and Mikel Arteta want this to be sorted as early June. So by the time we get into the first week or second week of June, Arsenal's number 9 situation will be sorted out. But who is it going to be? What is the new information on the striker, on the number 9 targets? Let's talk. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let's dive in. So let's start off with that David Ornstein, update. He gave us a very, very good update regarding, the situation, and he said to Arsenal fans, don't panic. Arsenal have not yet decided, or Arsenal have yet to decide between Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres. He says both of them are looked at as top talents, top strikers at the club, and one of them surely will be arriving at the Emirates Stadium. Now, of course, with David Ornstein, we can confirm that Alexander Isak, your Jonathan Davids, your Matthias Cunhas, all of those are out of race. It's now between Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres. Like, if you remember, a week or two ago, we were certain, we were sure it was going to be Victor Gyökeres. There was a lot of work done on this one. There were talks between Arsenal and Sporting. There were talks between Arsenal and the agent of the player. And I was convinced, and I think I convinced you too, that Victor Gyökeres was going to be the guy, right? Because all the right information from the right sources talk about Athletic, talk about Fabrizio Romano, talk about Florian Plettenberg. They were all pointing in the same direction. Victor Gyökeres to Arsenal, and here we go, is coming soon. However, last week we got information from Sky Sports German that Benjamin Sesko is the number 1 priority. And Team News Antics also confirmed that. And he said at the moment, Arsenal look at Sesko as the number 1 priority. And the second priority, or the second option, is definitely Victor Gyökeres. But David Ornstein says one of them will be playing football at the Emirates Stadium come next season if nothing changes. And he says at the moment, Arsenal are still undecided. Now, do I believe that Arsenal are still undecided? Do you believe that Arsenal are still undecided? 1 month into the beginning of the window, about like 10 days or 15 days to the opening of the window, you think Arsenal are still undecided? I'll answer that question to the close to the end of this video. The second journalist to give us information on this deal or on this situation has been Gyökeres. And Gyökeres has said Victor Gyökeres is more expensive at the moment. He's going to command more wages, and his agent fees are also a little bit high. So in terms of the general package, in terms of the general, transfer package, Gyökeres is going to be more expensive than Benjamin Sesko. Obviously, you have Benjamin Sesko, the price is going to be 90 million euros or 80 million euros, about that. But his wages are not as astronomical. He might be in the range of 100 to 150,000. Victor Gyökeres, 200 to 250,000. So I think Arsenal are thinking about that as well. Also, in terms of agent fees, because Victor Gyökeres is going to be a market opportunity, it's going to be a cheaper deal. I think his agent is going to command more money. He's going to ask for more money as compared to the agent of Benjamin Sesko, who knows Arsenal will have already paid 80 million euros. They are not going to give you a lot of money in terms of agent fees. So Gyökeres says, in terms of the overall package, Gyökeres is going to be more expensive than Benjamin Sesko. And that is very important, honestly. That is very important because people at times, including myself, we look at what the player is gonna cost, like 67 million, like 55 million, and we're like, this is cheaper. But in all due honesty, or with all due courtesy, there is a lot more that is thrown into these deals. There is a lot more that goes into these deals. Agent fees, we never calculate those. In terms of wages across 5 years, or a 4-year or 5-year deal, we never calculate those. And in terms of the general package, it's gonna be very key because Arsenal don't have one position to fill. We have Zubimendi, we have a new number 9, we have a left winger, Mikel wants a new goalkeeper, a left back, and maybe a centre back. So we have more positions to fill, which means that we're gonna tend to glide towards cheaper deals as compared to more expensive deals. And then Florian Plattenbach is a third journalist to give us an update today on this one, and he said that Sesko talks are still ongoing. Arsenal director Andre Bata is with the director of RB Leipzig, and they're in talks for Benjamin Sesko. But what is actually said there that is important is Arsenal are trying to ascertain the general or the overall cost of the whole package. Like, what will RB Leipzig want? That is number one. And number two, what is the payment structure? If you're talking about 80 million euros, is there a favorable payment structure in terms of maybe a smaller fee up front and then a longer period of time in which to pay the balance? And also, he said that RB Leipzig sure did want to sell and have to sell in order to buy or reinvest in the squad, as they will be losing key players this summer in the likes of Xavi Simons, in the likes of Benjamin Sesko as well. So they want to sell these players so they can reinvest across the squad, from the back line, the midfield, and the attack as well. So there is an incentive there, but if they want to reinvest, then that means that the amount of money or the amount of time they give you to clear these payments might not be as favorable as we want. But we are also going to talk about that. And then the fourth journalist has been Nicolo Shearer. Nicolo Shearer is a very, very good source when it comes to Portuguese news. Very good source. I don't want to say that he's above Jacob Benz, Pletigol, and David Ornstein. He's definitely not. But he has been spot on when it comes to Portuguese news and Portuguese sources. So Nicolo Shearer says that Arsenal have restarted talks with Sporting, and a bid should be coming in very, very soon for Victor Gyökeres. He's their number one. He's their number one priority, and not Benjamin Sesko. I am losing my mind, but don't lose your mind. We're going to make sense of all this, right? We're going to make sense of all this stuff right about now. So this is the expectation for me. And I've formed this expectation using the information that we have just seen from the different outlets. First and foremost, an early decision is going to be made because Arsenal don't want to drag themselves with Chelsea and Liverpool and Tottenham and Manchester United. So by early June, the Arsenal striker situation should be, will be, and must be done. And also, the reason as to why Arsenal have to deal with this quickly is Mikel Arteta wants other peripheral. I mean, peripheral is a little bit of an understatement, but he wants other areas to be dealt with, right? But they're not as pressing as the center forward situation. So what Mikel and Andre Bata want to do is, can we get the striker situation out of the way as quickly as possible so that we can know how much money are we left with? We have done Martin Zubimendi, and we have done, and if we do the striker situation, let's say we have spent 100 million on both of them, then we could do player sales and then understand what are we working with. Do we have an extra 80 million? Do we have an extra 100 million? And then how do we spend that? So I think the striker situation is going to be done very quickly, right? Arsenal really need to be very proactive on this one. Otherwise, you're going to have Chelsea come in. You're going to have Manchester United try. You're going to have other clubs come in to try and do these deals. And they're going to become even more expensive. than they are already are. So Arsenal know that, and we know that they will try to, pounce quickly. The second thing that we expect is that the cheaper deal in terms of the overall package will be done. And none of them is going to be cheap. I think cheap is the wrong word, but both of them are going to be very expensive deals. But even within expensive items or if expensive deals, you've got a more expensive deal and a lesser expensive deal. So for me, when it comes to this deal, whoever is going to be less expensive in terms of the overall package. In terms of overall package, I just don't mean the transfer fee. I mean wages, transfer fees, contract amortization, the length, all that. The more favorable deal for Arsenal and the cheaper deal, that is what we're going to go for. And it directly repels the idea of Mikel Arteta and his communication that Arsenal want to be the best in the market. Because if you want to be the best in the market, you don't look for the overall cheaper deal. You look for the better player and you look for the best talent. And best talent gets a lot of money. Best talent will command a bigger package. So if I was to really make sense of this in terms of Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, I think Mikel is going to have a very big say when it comes to who comes in as a striker, right? It's not going to be just about the deal. It's not going to be about how expensive they are or how cheap they are. It's going to be about how does Mikel Arteta favor them. If Mikel looks at Benjamin Sesko as a guy with speed, flexibility, and fluidity across the forward line, that is the guy you're going to get as an Arsenal striker. If Mikel looks at Victor Gyökeres as the guy that just comes in and wins you, and Mikel is ready to make a few, compromises, right? Is ready to compromise in a few areas, then Victor Gyökeres it will be. So I think Arteta is going to have a bigger say than Andrea Barta. And that's why I want to say this. I think it's going to be Benjamin Sesko. Listen, it was reported by Sky German that Mikel Arteta prefers a player that can play alongside Kai Havertz. Why? Because he's not ready to drop Kai this season, next season, or the season after that. Of course, he's already brought in Gyökeres Jesus, and he flopped. He's desperate for Kai Havertz to work. He's desperate for the transfer of Kai Havertz to become a success. You can't blame a manager for that. I mean, unless you're really deluded, you can't. So what I think here with Mikel is he wants Kai Havertz on the pitch. But he also wants a center forward. I think he wants a player who is patient. I think he wants a player who is not going to put a lot of pressure on him, especially when Kai Havertz starts. I'll tell you, Benjamin Sesko on the bench is okay while Kai Havertz starts, but Victor Gyökeres on the bench and Kai Havertz starts, it's not okay. Because the profile of Sesko and Havertz are quite related, maybe similar. But Gyökeres is a bullish number 9. And Arsenal fans, and Mikel Arteta knows, fans want to see a bullish number 9 bully defenses, right? So I think Kai Havertz's position in the squad and in the starting 11 next season is going to have a very big say on who comes in. And that's why I think it's going to be Benjamin Sesko for these reasons. One, we wanted him in January. Think about it. Arsenal wanted him in January, but RB Leipzig were thinking of qualifying for the UEFA Champions League, and they said, listen, we're not giving you our key players. We want to qualify for the Champions League. Give us some time, and then we can negotiate later. Second, he's seen as a project, right? Now, he's seen as a project, and of course, Arsenal want to sign players between the age of 21 to 24. So he's seen as a project, and he's seen as one of those players that are going to explode in the future. And Mikel knows, because Benjamin Sesko is a project, he can come in and swap positions with anyone in that Arsenal team without necessarily becoming this striker that starts 38 games in a campaign. And finally, his versatility as compared to Victor Gyökeres. Well, I talked about Victor Gyökeres and why he would be a very good fit for Arsenal, especially in terms of beating mid blocks. Sesko has that too. He's got the speed and he's so positive in terms of making runs in behind. So, and he's very versatile as a player. Can play a little bit off, or he can play in a 4-4-2, and it works out very, very well. So, it makes more sense for me, knowing Mikel Arteta, and having him as my manager. I understand he's not going to drop Kai Havertz. He's just going to sign Benjamin Sesko. And I won't be surprised if Sesko scores like 14 or 15 goals next season and Kai Havertz scores 12. I think that's what Mikel wants. He wants to create a bit of relevance to the signing of Kai Havertz. But I'll keep you posted. Like today, I want to do it a little bit calm, a little bit slow, so that we understand where this summer is actually going to.